We're no strangers to love. Hello, fellow nerds. As you can tell by the way I look, giant nerd here. I wanted to offer you guys a perspective if you're feeling kind of maybe stuck in your life, like you're not making progress, or just something is kind of holding you back maybe from being your fullest potential. First of all, I wanted to just say that, okay, when I'm going to talk about video games, anime, manga, like none of these things are bad things, and they did teach me a lot of good things, but I grew up on this stuff, and I think it does explain a couple of things where I would just get stuck in my own life. With that being said, let's kind of think real quick about first games. Like, what is the most video games, like, kind of what's the point, right? Like, it usually involves grinding for some type of reward. You play an RPG, right? You put in X amount of grinding and you level up, you unlock certain skills, you're able to beat certain bosses, you're able to access certain areas until the very end, right? Another good example would be like, you take platformers or 3D platformers or collectathons. That's actually a really good one right there, where the whole point is you really want to have that achievement of, you see like the 100% bar slowly climb up to 100% as you collect the different collectibles in the game. Sometimes it's not even like the main objective of the game, but you just get that satisfaction of like, oh, I just found the shiny trinket, and there you go, you know, like, oh yes, progress. And something similar happens in a lot of anime and manga. I like to give the perspective of what I grew up with, which was like a lot of shonen stuff, where it's, you know, you have the classic protagonist or hero, whatever, and he has like his big goal that he states at the beginning, right? Here's some classic staples, right? Like you get Naruto, he wants to become the Hokage. Cool. You have One Piece, right? Bro wants to become the Pirate King. So you have your happy-go-lucky hero of destiny, and you just want to see them achieve their happy ending, you know? But what do you usually see in these is a lot of like extreme forms of willpower, a lot of grinding, a lot of like things kind of that just go their way. You kind of think at certain points in your life, like, I guess I gotta kind of emulate that, you know, grind, just extreme forms of willpower. Always have a positive attitude, you know, like, okay, cool. Like, it's not a bad place, I think, to rationalize that. But what happens when it comes to things that scare us or things that we don't actually want to do, or even worse, things that bore us, is we don't want to do them and we procrastinate on them. And I think this happens mostly because there's no instant reward like the other things, like the media that we consume. There's nothing that instantly gratifies us for like, hey, you did X, so now you get Y. As a matter of fact, there's certain points in life that putting in more work, grinding even harder, will sometimes still achieve no results. And so because we don't get like those like immediate, like instant gratification type of rewards, we become disillusioned with life, you know? We tend to like start to fantasize even harder, like we really want to be in these fantasy worlds rather than reality with the progress that we could be making. We start to instead put ourselves in like the role of the protagonist in the game, or in the hero's role in the anime or the manga. And again, these aren't bad things, but this is kind of, I think, like a little bit of the energy that I would pick up, where it's like, why isn't this working? Like, I'm grinding even harder, I'm trying to be even more positive, and I'm still achieving no results. But here's the deal, is that real life, reality, is neither glamorous like that, nor is it always instantly rewarding like that. So what happens when you get stuck? You have to acknowledge, I think, a couple of things. One is that when things get tough, and I'm not talking like work got a little bit crazier, or like exams are coming up, you know, like those are tough things, sure, but I'm talking when life really throws you like those curveballs. Those are challenges from the universe to really showcase what type of person you are, and rather than try to medicate from them, hide from it, procrastinate on it, you want to lean into those times with the expectation that you're not going to get like a prize, you're not going to get a cookie whenever things get hard. Lean into it with the expectation that no one's going to care that you're leaning into these things and you're fixing them and you're solving them. And then finally, lean into these tough times too with the expectation of the reward of the thing is getting over the thing. It's not going to be leveling up. It's not going to be like sexy anime girl. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not that glamorous in real life. And so we don't want to do it because it's boring, or because it's like, I don't want to deal with it, or because it seems insurmountable. But if you learn to appreciate these tough times as moments of growth, as moments of showcasing to you yourself, not anyone else's opinion of you, that you can get through these things, that you can still put in the work when things get hard. That is going to be the thing that actually brings you results. And it's not going to be instant, and it may not be obvious, but if you focus on making progress, it can be quick. There's some great things you can learn from anime and manga and video games though too. Being able to get back up when life knocks you down, that's kind of a common thing in anime, right? That's a great skill to have. Being able to stand up for yourself, for your loved ones, your choices, in the face of like something that seems insurmountable or some type of authority or something, great skill also. Building up various aspects of yourself, right? In an RPG, you know, you can work on like your attack, your defense, your luck, your magic skills. I'm trying to think of your speed, accuracy. What are common RPG skills? I don't know, but hopefully you get what I'm saying, right? If you just focus on only building your attack, yeah, you'll hit hard, but you become a glass cannon that falls at the first obstacle. So similarly in real life, being able to build various aspects of yourself, even if it's little by little, that's almost kind of how you want to see the grind towards it. Like, are you working on how much money you have? Are you working on like your physical health? What about how your relationship with your loved ones? How's that doing? Could you build that up? And so you start building up these different aspects of your life, different skills, different, I'm blanking out on video game terms, but I think you know what I'm talking about, versus just solely focusing on one, like, I need to make more money. I need to become super ripped and buff, and abandoning the rest of it. You may start to find like things start to slowly improve, even if you're going through hard times. And remember that putting in the work will make you stronger. If you show up to be consistent, it will make you stronger, even if no one else but you notices. And at the end of the day, that should be the person that cares the most. And then remember, last thing, it's never too late, and you can absolutely start today. You can absolutely start today to change your life. I think the last thing I could say is like, think of it like this. Imagine a video game where you've already unlocked everything at the very start. Now, wouldn't that be boring? We don't tend to see real life in that sense, because like paying the bills, like that's not like a dungeon in a game or something like that, you know, like that's not that exciting. You know, I'm not slaying a dragon here. I'm paying my taxes. But you absolutely would be miserable if everything in life was handed to you on a silver platter. Same with like, if you're watching an anime or reading a manga, right? Imagine the protagonist, the very start, he already has his goal. He already has his dream. He's achieved it. Well, then there's no story, right? So similarly to yourself, you got to see yourself as like, you are the hero. You are the protagonist. How would the ideal version of you yourself react to the situation or whatever it is you're going through right now? If you were reading your own story, like, oh man, like that's not that exciting. Better go make it exciting. I want to see what the next scene is. I want to see what the next chapter is. How is he going to achieve his goal that he stated at the beginning? You know, make yourself excited about your own story. And because life has a polarity, in fact, if you were to win the lottery, you would most likely figure out a way to lose it all, because you don't have all the goodies, the skills, the abilities that you get by climbing up the ladder, that you get by overcoming villains and problems and stuff in the anime story. Don't have those, and thus if everything was given to you, you'd collapse anyways. Real life is not as glamorous, but if you focus on just making consistent progress, checking in on all your progress, check in on your stats as you build them, and then you just figure out a way to make the stuff that you don't want to do, the boring stuff, the tedious stuff, the stuff that scares you, if you can figure out how to make that just as fun as playing a video game, as watching, you know, your favorite pirate king be on his journey on the way up, I think that's where you start to see real results, you know, and you'll start to build like a real sense of not only what you're capable of, but you start heading towards the exact person that you were always meant to be. So hopefully that caffeinated ramble made sense. I just had this thought, I think, that I had to get off my chest, where I had like a bunch of like dots connect in the sky like a cracked out constellation. But I think overall I won't BS you. I do believe that you're capable of achieving all the things that you imagine your ideal version of yourself being, but just know that you're not going to get instantly rewarded for it. It's going to be boring, and it's going to mean getting back up whenever life just hands you like a doo-doo sandwich, essentially. But if you stay excited about your own story, and again, stay consistent with making progress, and you'll get to be your own hero. So catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully that shimmies some stuff in the brain and leads to some good results for you.